Hello friends, welcome back. So we are now reading. We will be reading Kashmir, and it is not the. There is a disclaimer that it is not a comprehensive, discussion over Kashmir. It is just what is written, over here in this booklet. So, okay, now we should go. But it is very important because we have to have the basics, clear for us, to understand to have the further understanding of the Kashmir dispute or any of the matter, any other topic. So, okay, Kashmir. The Kashmir dispute dates back from 1947, and the partition was done on the religious lines. And princely states had the option to join either of the two dominion or to remain independent. Hari Singh, the ruler of Kashmir, chose to remain neutral. And then but his hopes of remaining independent were dashed in October 1947 as Pakistan sent Muslim tribesmen who were knocking at the gates of the capital Srinagar. Okay, so the instrument of accession was signed by the Hari Singh on 26 November 1947, and Kashmir acceded to the India legally, and Kashmir and United Nations. Okay, Nehru took this Kashmir matter. Jawaharlal Nehru, PM Nehru at the time, took the Kashmir matter to the United Nations on 1st of January. Okay, and his resolution was dated August 13, 1948, was passed by the UN Security Council to remove the which was asking Pakistan to remove its troop, after which India will also withdraw the bulk of its forces. Okay, but this never happened. If and after that, once these two things happen, a free and fair plebiscite will be held. Okay, would be held, but India was very confident of winning the plebiscite, because at the time most influential Kashmiri mass leader Sheikh Abdullah was firmly on the India's side. An emergency government was formed on October 30, 1948, and Sheikh Abdullah was made the prime minister. Okay, on Pakistan ignored the UN resolution and continued to fight. And on 1st January 1949, a ceasefire was agreed. Okay, 65% of the territory were under the Indian control, and remained with the Pakistan. The situation was intended to be temporary, but the LOC, remains the de facto boundary between the two countries. In 1947, Kashmir was formally incorporated into the Indian Union and granted a special status under Article 370. Okay, of the India's constitution, among other things, and that non-Kashmiri Indians cannot buy property there. Okay, which ensured this Article 370. Okay, then now India and Pakistan wars. Fighting broke out again in 1965. Operation, I think, Gibraltar was there. So we are not discussing in depth about the India Pakistan wars. So just we are discussing about the timelines. So fighting broke out again in 1965, and this our PM Lal Bahadur Shastri and Pakistan President Ayub Khan signed the Tashkent Agreement on 1st January 1966. In 1971, a third war resulted in the formation of independent nation of Bangladesh, formerly known as East Pakistan. War broke out in eastern Pakistan in March 1971, sorry, and soon India was faced with a million refugees. India declared war on 3rd December 1971 after Pakistan Air Force planes struck Indian airfields, okay, in the western sector. Then Shimla Agreement in 1972, Indira Gandhi's then Indian Prime Minister and Bhutto signed the Shimla Agreement, which reiterated the promises made in Tashkent. Okay, and the two sides once again agreed to resolve the issue peacefully, and domestic issues dominated. Okay, so just this is the main thing. Two sides once again agreed to resolve the issue peacefully. Okay, but what happened to the Shimla Agreement? 1975, Indira Gandhi declared a state of national emergency, and she was defeated in the 1978 general elections, and Bhutto was hanged in 1977. Pakistan reverted to the military dictatorship under Zia-ul-Haq. Now, rise of militancy and aftermath. The balance of influence has decisively tilted in the Pakistan's favor in Kashmir by the late 1980s, with people's sympathy no longer with the Indian Union as it has been in 1947, 48 and 1965. Mrs. Gandhi's attempt to install puppet government in the state capitals, manipulating the democratic process in the state legislature, deeply angered the Kashmiri. The status quo was largely maintained until 1989, when pro-independence and pro-Pakistan guerrillas struck in the Indian Kashmir Valley, okay, and which forced almost all the Hindus, to move out of the valley, and eventually Indian army moved in to flush these terrorists out, okay. Whereas in 1948, India took the Kashmir issue in the UN, as we know, and was all for a plebiscite. But by 1990s, India seems like hiding behind the Shimla Agreement, okay, and thwarted any attempts at UN or third party mediation, okay. In the India and Pakistan both tested nuclear devices in May 1998 and then in April 1999, okay. Pakistan tested Gauri 2, India tested Agni 2 missile, okay. And when Atal Bihari Vajpayee, then Atal Bihari Vajpayee, traveled in bus from Delhi to Lahore, okay, in 1999. It was expected of having some thaw in the relationship, but all hopes of diplomacy disappeared once the cross-border firing started and Kargil happened. Now we'll just read about Article 35. Of course, this Article 35A has been abolished, but we have to know, to give our further understanding a context, what was Article 35A was all about. What is Article 35A? It is constitutional. It is a constitutional provision that, so we can say it was a constitutional provision, but okay, just excuse me for this. It is a constitutional provision that allows the Jammu Kashmir Assembly to define the permanent residents of the state. Okay, according to Jammu Kashmir Constitution, permanent resident is defined as a person who was a state subject on 14th of May 1954 and who has been residing in the state for a period of 10 years and has lawfully acquired the immovable property in the state. Okay, when was Article 35A introduced? Article 35A, it was brought by a presidential order in 1954 in order to safeguard the rights and guarantee the unique identity of the people of Jammu Kashmir. Only the Jammu Kashmir Assembly can change the definition of permanent resident through a law ratified by a 2/3 majority. Okay, this all gone. Jammu Kashmir Assembly also dissolved. What is the challenge before the Supreme Court? A batch of petitions, recently challenged the constitutional validity of 35A. See, this what do you call that? This material is a little bit older. Okay, so just understand the things and reason yourself and how to use that thing. Okay, Delhi-based NGO We the Citizens in its petition, argued that Article 35A goes against the very spirit of oneness of India and creates a class within a class of Indian citizens. After a petition by Charu Wali Khanna, okay, just remember We the Citizens and Charu Wali Khanna claims 35A discriminates against the woman's right to property. Okay, view and counter view. The view from the right. See, this article, this material is being, I think copy pasted from some leftist newspaper, something leftist. This is leftist point of view. See what is it saying? The view from the right, okay, is that by striking down the Article 35A, it would allow people from outside the Jammu Kashmir to settle in the state and acquire land and property, okay, and right to vote, okay, settle, acquire land, property, right to vote, thus altering the demography of the Muslim majority state. So it is like provoking through its right up. The state's two main political parties, PDP and NC, contended that there would be no JDK left if this provision is tampered with, and have vowed to fight the battle together. Okay, now we'll study about the Kashmiri Pandits. Who are they? They are a Brahmin community from Kashmir. They are the followers of Shaivism, and they are the only Hindu community of the valley. They are among the original inhabitants of the Kashmir Valley with a recorded history of over 5,000 years. In 1980, they comprised only 5% of the population of Kashmir Valley by 1980s, and mass exodus happened 1990s. Okay, so now no more. Their displacement in early 1990s, they became the target and victim. Of the most successful, though virtually unnoticed, campaigns of ethnic cleansing in the world. Okay, So they were forced to leave Kashmir. Okay, Pandit's properties were either destroyed or taken away, taken over by the terrorists or by local Muslims. The number of displaced people ranges from 1.5 lakh to 3.5 lakh. They migrated mostly to the refugee camps in Jammu, Delhi, and other areas. Estimates are like 200 to 400 members of community had been killed between 1989 and 2004, but none thereafter. Government estimates. In 2010, government of Jammu and Kashmir noted that Pandit families comprising 3.3 or 4 people were still living in Valley. What is this? Still living in Valley who face terrorist threats. Okay, 3,400 something. Okay. Present condition. Not only did the Indian state fail to protect them. Okay. Successive government provided little more than minimal humanitarian relief. So recently there are a lot of Pandit killings, and Hindu killings in the valley. Those who were working there under Prime Minister, some Prime Minister Yojana scheme, okay, rehabilitation scheme. A majority, and they are again, they have again become the victim of selective killings. A majority of the Pandit refugees live in squalid camps with spiraling health and economic problems. They live in abysmal condition in Jammu. Okay, they are confronted with the specter of cultural extinction, and it has taken a severe toll on their physical and mental health. Okay, they are suffering from insomnia, depression, hypertension. Birth rates have declined significantly. They are being neglected by the government. Okay, why? Because they have the tradition of non-violent protest. Okay, non-violent protest, which has made them irrelevant in the political discourse. Okay, both within the country and international on Kashmir, and they seldom feature in the discourse on the Kashmir issue and its resolution. If somebody is talking about Kashmir issue, no, nobody is talking about Kashmiri Pandits. Okay, because they do not impose themselves on the people. They are very, they are non-violent. They do non-violent protest and everything. So nobody is, but yes, government is now working for them, trying to work for them. Okay, they return. If rehabilitation proposals are announced, then they themselves reject it. Why? Because they think that valley remains unstable. Yes, they are right. They hope to return someday after one day after the situation improved. Okay, whenever they try any attempt to facilitate their return to the valley has been initiated, a major incident of terrorist violence against them has occurred. Okay, many peace processes. It should be clear that, however, that many peace processes and the political solutions that initiated in JNK from time to time have little meaning until these processes include some steps to compensate the grave injustices done to the unfortunate community. Okay, now we'll see the pellet gun. Okay, pellet is a form of non-lethal crowd control method used by police and military worldwide. Okay, it is a non-spherical pellet is a non-spherical projectile. Okay, what are they intended for? Intended to injure the individuals and cause pain. Okay, they are effective over short range up to 500 yards, but when fired from a close quarter can be proved lethal. Uses in Kashmir. It is by no means a new phenomenon. In 2010 also, pellet guns were used as a less lethal alternative to other weapons. They injured over 1,500 people. Shit, man. And caused loss of eyesight in at least 90 others. Okay, this is very weird. Pellet guns. Okay, since then regularly doctors in Kashmir have received patients with the pellet injuries. Okay, in 2016, conservative estimates. What are the estimates? 8,000 people admitted in the hospital, 90 killed. Okay, argument for pellet gun, because it is used for controlling the crowd which are involved in using stones as a weapon. Okay, against the security forces. Okay, stones. If somebody is pelting a stone, it means that doesn't mean that he has the right to pelt a stone. Stone is more lethal than pellet gun if it is thrown from the close distance. Okay, it is as lethal as a bullet. Okay, when it is close from the short distance. So pellet gun or stone, both are lethal. An argument against pellet gun. According to critic, the pellet gun is deceptively a lethal weapon. Okay, though they say that it is a non-lethal weapon, but it is a lethal weapon. Critics say like this, non-lethal lethal weapon. They use lead pellet, which increases the chances of a single shot hitting more than one person and fatally injuring them. Okay, so loaded with lead. Okay, spread out randomly, haphazardly, not only hitting the bystanders but hitting a human body in more than one places. Okay, hit the person in multiple places on their body. Okay, this standard SOP released by BPRD, Bureau of Police Research and Development, in 2011 does not recommend pellet guns. Okay, as a non-lethal weapon. BPRD, recommended use of water cannon, tear gas, stinger, dye marker grenades, lasers, and net guns. That is effective in crowd control. In 2013, JK State Human Rights Commission, stated that use of pellet gun by government forces was a serious threat to life in case of human right violation. Okay, way ahead, government must seriously consider the use of pellet gun as a crowd control weapon, and there should be SOPs on the violent crowd control that uses non-lethal weapons to disperse the crowd and distinguish between violent and the non-violent and peaceful protesters. Okay, and the long-term solution is in removing the grievances of the people in the valley. So that's it. Thank you.